Holy shit. Okay. With my genius level intellect, I just figured out. You get a knockdown with this special move, frame kill with 2 buttons, standing heavy punch as soon as possible. It hits extra meaty and it's suddenly plus, and thus can put on the sauce. Now, if that video made any amount of sense to you, this video is probably not for you. However, still stick around, give me some views, maybe sub even. But back to the issue at hand. I've been streaming recently, Street Fighter V, and I found that most, if not all, my friends have no clue what I'm saying. So let's hop into the game and I'll talk about some of my favorites, or the ones that I use very often. So the first thing I'll go over is the idea of plus, minus, positive, negative. It's something that it will come up very often when you're talking about fighting games in general, actually. And it describes the situation after a hit or block has happened. So after a block or hit has happened, after I did a thing, that resulting situation is always going to be plus, minus, or 0. So now if you actually look at underneath Alex's health bar, there's a thing that says frame, and it says +3 right now. +2, +3, -3, 0, -3, -4. Oh, what? That's the plus minus stuff. That's what it is. Now, what the numbers actually mean? It's frames. It's the number of frames that you are minus or plus, and frames are just a unit of time because all fighting games run at 60 FPS. Now, in this situation, I am +4 when Akuma blocks. What does that actually literally mean is after the block happens, I recover 4 frames faster than Akuma does, meaning I can do something 4 frames before Akuma. And conversely, if I do standing heavy punch, I'm -4. So after that standing heavy kick, standing heavy kick gets blocked, Akuma recovers 4 frames faster than I do. So that's the idea of plus frames, minus frames, and 0. And 0 means we recover at the same time. So now that we know the idea of plus, minus, 0, we can talk about frame traps. And what a frame trap means is just using your knowledge of those frame data, the plus minuses, to trap your opponent into pressing a button that you know you'll be able to beat. To give an example, let's have our boy Akuma here do a standing light punch on block, reversal, so it's as soon as possible. So now every time Akuma blocks, he's gonna do a standing light punch. So with my knowledge of frame data, I know Alex's crouching jab, his crouching light punch, is +2 on block. Akuma's standing light punch is 3 frame startup, so because I recover 2 frames faster after the crouching light punch, effectively I can think of it as Akuma's standing light punch is all of a sudden like a 5 frame startup button because I recover 2 frames faster. And then Alex's this button is 4 frame startup. 4 frames is often faster than 5 frames. So as I said up earlier, Akuma's doing the standing light punch as fast as possible. Look at that, counter hit. And that makes sense because, like I said, my thing will come out faster in this situation. And it's counter because, like, the Akuma's in the middle of the punch coming out, but I'm hitting him out of it before it actually goes active. Active meaning the set of frames in the animation where the attack's considered active and, it can actually do damage. So earlier, you know how I said after crouching light punch, because it's +2, that 3 frame startup button from Akuma is effectively a 5 frame button, but this is 6 frames. So what should happen? I should get beat by Akuma and Akuma should counter me. Look at that, exactly, Kekakudori. I am getting countered. And also remember 5 frames. Alex's standing light kick is a 5 frame startup, so what should happen? We shall see. They trade. How about that? Everything maths out. They trade because they are the same heaviness button happening, getting active at the same time. A quick note, Street Fighter V specifically has this thing called a priority system where the strength of the button beats out lower strength buttons. So similar idea, this is +3 on block. So now after the +3 situation, when Akuma does the 3 frame punch, it's effectively a 6 frame button, and like I said, this is 6 frames, so now they should collide at the same time. However, Alex wins out that interaction instead of trading, because of the priority system. So now a question that might be asked is, what if you press a button from Alex's side that is within your own plus frames? Like an example would be Alex's lariat, the forward heavy punch, is a 4-frame plus. And Alex's crouching light punch, as we said, is a 4-frame startup button. So what happens? So that is what we call a 0-frame gap. You can even get negative frame traps, I guess, frame gaps, I guess. But you just call it a 0-frame gap or true block string. And it's exactly what it sounds like, a true block string, meaning like Akuma can't even act within that time. So like, oh, I mistimed that crouching light punch right there. Like Akuma just blocks the rest because he literally can't act. So now you know how kind of like frames can line up like this. But what if you get a button inside your plus frames, but the opponent gets hit? Right? Because Akuma's been blocking so far. Oh, look at that. On hit, instead of +4, we are +8, meaning I should be able to fit this in. Oh, look at that. You see that 2-hit right there? That's what a combo is. In Street Fighter V, a link combo specifically means fitting a button inside the plus frames post hit situation instead of block situation. That's it. That's what a link combo is. I messed up. There it is. So there is a thing you can do called a block punish, which is surprisingly very similar to a link, right? Because a link is you're fitting a button inside your plus frames, meaning you're fitting a button while your opponent is recovering from, well, trying to recover from their last react when they got hit. In the same vein, you can press a button while they're recovering from their own button. This will make way more sense when you see an example. I have Akuma right now set to all block, meaning he will actually block everything: overhead, lows, sweeps, jump-ins, everything will be blocked. And I will make him do a sweep or crouching heavy kick. As you can see, it says +15 for me, and from Akuma's perspective, we would say, yeah, Akuma's -15 after that block. 15, that's a lot of frames. Remember, this is 6 frame startup. This is 10 frame startup. This is 11 frames of startup, meaning I can fit all of them inside. Look at that. He can't block, or he can't block. And that is because we're recovering that amount of frames. We're recovering 15 frames before Akuma, and we're able to get a button out before Akuma's fully done with his animation. And to give an example of something that wouldn't be a block punish for me is it's +15 for me, it's -15 for Akuma, and this standing heavy kick is a 17 frame move, which just means that this is going to be active 2 frames after Akuma has fully recovered. So let's take a look. And he gets the block. So something that might be going through your head about now is, hey, Pills, my dude, how do you know so many frames? How do you know the startups and active of all these buttons? What are you, some sort of genius? The answer is yes, but also I use the internet. Let's take a look at some sites that you can use, and I guarantee it's very useful. My favorite is fullmeter.com. I have the app on my phone just because I like it. But they have an online version, and you go here, and then you can pick all the whatever characters, and once again it shows Alex, and then you see the startup, active, recovery. We already talked about those. The recovery is a little bit more complicated and comes into play slightly in a less obvious way, which I can go over in a different video. But most importantly, it says all the startups and actives and the on hit and on block, which is pretty much the numbers that we've been seeing in that training mode UI with the pluses and minuses. And just to go to a thing that we literally just looked at, standing heavy kick, like I said, 17 frame startup. Oh, it's 3 frame active. I assumed it was like 2 frames are active, but 3 frames of active and -4 on the first frame of block, like we just saw. So I'll quickly go over what a whiff punish is now, super quickly, because it's not that different from a block punish. The whole thing with block punishes are when you block, you can fit a button inside their recovery, and thus you can hit them. The whiff punish is exactly the same thing, but they don't hit you, and you're still hitting them out of their recovery. Let me explain. I think the best way I can explain this is actually setting it to record, play by recording. I'll have Akuma jump, sweep, and I'm holding down back this entire time. So Akuma should block everything but overheads post doing sweep as soon as possible. So we'll have him do this, sweep, and then boom. And then just to make sure he's indeed blocking, blocks everything besides an overhead. Perfect. And then let me show you a whiff punish. Well, a failed whiff punish. I reacted too slow. The whiff completely, the whiffed crouching heavy kick completely recovered, so I didn't get the whiff punish. However, that, my friends, is a whiff punish. And much like the block punish, as long as your button is fast enough and reaches the opponent while they're in the recovery frames, while they're in the recovery animation, it's going to hit. So with some practice and honing of your reactions, you should be able to do more fancy things, more damage, more optimal stuff. Like with Alex, if I have super and I know my opponent's sweeping a lot, I might just want to make her some space and then convert it to super like that, and that feels good. All right, well, I think that about covers all the frame data related words that I tend to use when describing a lot of my interactions in Street Fighter specifically, but also other fighting games. Now, in the next video, I'll go directly into talking about meaties, extra meaties, and some other stuff. I meant to put all that in one video, but turns out I'm going in a little deeper into my explanations than I originally planned, so might as well split the videos up, especially with that second video. There's some things I explained that I want to add some graphics to make it much easier to swallow what I'm saying, because I started explaining some weird stuff. Either way, look for the next video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. Bye. I'll see you next time.